Hi, Elon. Are you there?
I am.
Hey,
So
so this is a cool Twitter Spaces. Learning a lot about this platform.
yeah, I mean, it's a great way to talk directly to people and have just a kind of a real time conversation. Um, and yeah, so uh, uh, yeah, thanks for doing this. So I guess
Cool.
um, so would you like to make the
Yeah.
announcement?
Thank you, Elon. And you know, working with Elon and his team, I'm really excited for our industry and for the Ford customers. We're announcing that in early 2024, all of Ford's existing customers and future customers would have access to 12,000 Tesla superchargers, high-speed superchargers across the U.S. We're really excited about that. We're ramping production, and we think this is a huge move for our industry and for all electric customers. And then about a year later, we're going to be equipping our Fords when we go to our second generation electric vehicles with the NACS interface. So it's really, Elon, I want to thank you and your team. It's been great working with you so far, and I'm really excited about what this means for customers. We've been talking about this for a while, you and I. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, it's certainly super exciting to be in partnership with Ford. Have a tremendous amount of respect for Ford as a company and makes great vehicles. So yeah, this is it's something where we're super happy to support um, uh, um, Ford vehicles with the Tesla supercharging network, and also provide API access. So like a Ford vehicle can charge at a Tesla supercharger using the Ford app seamlessly. Essentially, like the the idea is that like we don't want the Tesla supercharger network to be like a walled garden. We want it to be something that is supportive of um, electrification and sustainable transport in general. So, and we're very much appreciative of Ford's interest in partnering on this front. So it is our intent to do everything possible to support Ford and have Ford be on an equal footing at Tesla superchargers.
Well, this is a really, really big deal for our customers because we have about 10,000 fast chargers now, but 12,000. We love the locations, we love the reliability, your routing software, um, the ease of use of the connector, the reliability of it. Um, I think it's a pretty amazing what you and your team have done for the customers. How are you seeing things in Europe? Because I know that's a little bit different.
Well, the Europe spec. It's funny. I actually went to visit the EU Minister of Transport because I was. This is several years ago. Because I was actually pretty upset about the EU design.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and honestly, it was somewhat of a Kafka-esque situation, where I was told, well, it was designed by a committee. I'm like, well, we didn't know this committee existed. Um, it's like, well, but you should have known. Like, I'm like, well, how are we supposed to provide input on something we didn't know existed? This is not possible. And
Mm.
and it hadn't yet become law or anything. So I was like, well, how about if there's alternatives? Like you can have two, or and but unfortunately, the EU connector is very much a design by committee situation, and but we're somewhat stuck with it. In fact, we're not even allowed to have private networks in the
Hmm.
EU that have the North American connector. So um, but I think it is the team's done a good job, and it's a pretty great connector. So,
Mm.
and if we working with Ford and perhaps others can make it the North American standard, I think the consumers will be all the better for it. So
Here's,
yeah.
I know you and I've been, talking about what we can do together to advance, the industry and the customer experience. But it became clear to me, I was on vacation with my family last year in Lake Tahoe. I was driving back, I think, to Monterey, and my kids kept looking at me and going, "Hey, Dad, there's another Supercharger. Now.
Yeah.
Can we stop there? How about there? How about on the I-5, Dad?" I was like, "No, we have to go. We have to go over here behind this other building." And so it kind of became obvious to me, the job your team had done and what it means for customers.
Absolutely. So, well, you know, our goal really is to be helpful as possible in accelerating towards sustainable transport, and that's also like why we open source our patents, and many of our designs are open sourced. So, we're just glad to be as helpful as possible, and. And I think you alluded to it, but we should mention that there will be an adapter in the
Yeah.
interim. So I think we're aiming for that adapter to be in production early next year. I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's a really big deal because that, you know, I mean, we don't we don't have as many EV customers as you do, but we still have plenty. And for them to be able to have this benefit early next year already and not have to like buy a new car is, I think, a real statement by you and the Tesla team. To be really thinking, prioritizing the customer's experience. So that's really a big deal. And of course, we're totally committed to the NACS interface itself going forward.
That sounds great. Well, let's see. Should we maybe take some? We take some questions.
Perfect.
Let's see. Maybe Farzad. Um,
I, I have one I think that's pretty cool. I see, um, which is um, how much it will cost. And so I was thinking that's a good one. We'll obviously try to
Sure.
make it as affordable and competitive as possible early next year. And we'll have different kinds of payment options like subscriptions, etc.
Yeah, I think it will not be cost prohibitive. It'll be something that's quite affordable. In the hundreds of dollars range. It's an adapter, so it's not super expensive.
Yep.
Let's see. So, Farzad, did you have a question
Sure.
or comment?
Yeah. No, thank you for bringing me up. Hi, Elon. Hi, Jim. Congrats on the announcement. Yeah, Jim, I just want to give you props. I think out of all the legacy automakers, I really like the leadership that you've sort of driven for Ford, having the guts and the bravery of, really allowing the public seeing the financials for all your business units. I think is quite a leadership standpoint that I think should be noticed by the rest of the industry. How do you view that decision within the context of sort of this decision here today? And what are some of the, I guess, challenges or things that you've been able to learn from going through this transition, sort of this next generation of Ford, and sort of at just high level, how are you thinking about Ford where it stands today? I think it's just very impressive how y'all decided to do that. I think it's really, really cool.
Well, I think, obviously Tesla, you know, stormed through the train station like 300 km/h Shinkansen. So it's like, we're learning a lot. I'd say splitting out the business really has been a game changer for us because it's given us a lot. Like, we really are focused on, like, this decision on trying to work on behalf of the customer. And maybe when it was not broken out, we didn't have that laser focus. I think some of the things that we learned, frankly, a lot of them from Elon and his team is, our industry is kind of obsessed with these huge batteries, and I think that's maybe not the right approach. We should make the battery as small as possible, actually, with a really competitive user experience range, but have like really great fast charging experience combined with that, so we don't have to be driving around, $20,000 of extra batteries for customers.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, so I think I've learned that. And also the embedded electrical architecture, fully updatable vehicle, like it's super hard what Tesla's done. And I totally respect them, to do that, to make a fully software updatable vehicle. And we're in the process of doing, but it's super hard.
It's super hard, yes. Well, I mean, Jim, we're happy to be helpful in other respects with, on the software front. There may be, some, something where we can be helpful there, in the same way that like maybe Android is, helpful to the phone industry as sort of a general standard. Like we could potentially I think open source more code, and we'd love to be helpful in any way that we can.
Yeah. I think that's super important. It shouldn't stop now. I'm actually really interested, Elon, in your experience so far in Corpus Christi and processing raw materials. It seems like you're really learning a lot.
Yeah, I mean, our actual goal is to do the least amount possible, but then we end up hitting these choke points, or we anticipate hitting choke points. So a lot of the vertical integration is really out of necessity. And if we find that there are suppliers that are solving the problem, and there's good visibility into the future output roadmap, then there may be cases where we would redirect those resources from what they're doing to something else, because we got a triage list of problems a mile long. So, but the we did see a pretty serious issue with lithium refining. There's a lot of lithium ore in the world. Like when one looks at the sort of lithium reserves, that's actually a tiny fraction of the amount of lithium that exists. But the processing of lithium, it seems to be a significant choke point. So that's the reason for our lithium refinery that we just broke ground on in Corpus Christi, and then we've got a cathode refinery that's on the same piece of land as our factory in Austin. That's for a nickel-based cathode, and then we're just trying to figure out, like, man, do we need to do the anode too? Hopefully not. But if someone else could please do that, that would be awesome. It's synthetic graphite. There's a big market for it. I recommend entrepreneurs. I mean, I see so many entrepreneurs, like, in Silicon Valley doing like a software startup, or sort of chasing the latest thing, but not enough of the talent in North America, I think, goes into heavy industry. And the crazy thing is, like, the opportunity in heavy industry is tremendous. So I just would really like to encourage entrepreneurs to think about things that don't involve an app on a phone, basically. So apps on a phone, we need them, but I just think we have an over allocation of talent towards apps on phones.
Coming from Ford, I totally agree with you. Yeah, totally agree.
It is super hard making cars. So
well, it's super hard making embedded electrical architectures too. Right back at you.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like I guess California gets a lot of flack, but I have to say, like, the Tesla and SpaceX teams in California are work like hell. We run the Fremont plant 24/7 in the Bay Area, and the output at sort of on a Sunday morning is about the same as on a Monday afternoon. And then I was like, well, do we have quality issues maybe that are differential? Because like, who really wants to work at 4 a.m. on a Sunday?
Mm. You're right.
But
But
actually,
no.
no, it's slightly counterintuitive. We actually, I mean, look, quality is always a challenge.
Yes,
It's always a challenge,
it is.
but actually, the quality is slightly worse on a Monday than it is on a Sunday night shift, which is counterintuitive. Um,
Oh my God, that's
it
interesting. So,
is.
uh,
So,
I know.
yeah.
I'm getting some questions about all the existing Ford Chargers. Yeah, the everything will still work. So we're good with that.
Should we
Yeah.
enable a car dealership guy to? I think you know him, right?
Oh yes. Oh my God. Is that Mike Sullivan?
It might be.
Oh yeah. There we go. Yep. We'll enable
Okay.
car dealer. Yeah. Okay. Mike, is that you calling from Santa Monica?
Talking to me?
Mike,
I'm
Mike, check your mic.
hey, how are you guys doing? I'm definitely not a mic, uh, but but I have a mic. So, hey,
Okay.
appreciate you bringing me up, Elon, Jim, hey, Farzad. Jim, I have a question for you regarding, and I did miss the whole beginning part of this, so apologies if you already spoke about this. But how do you reconcile, the shift to electrification? And specifically with the standards that you have a massive dealer network throughout the country. So that entire shift with the fact that at the end of the day, if we're just being objective, your customer or one of your customers is the dealer still, and of course the dealer network.
Yep.
And how do you reconcile all of that? And I'm coming from a position where I don't know how much you know about my mission, but I'm really trying to deliver transparent insights into the car market in an unbiased way. I'm a used car dealer, so I don't have a horse in this race per se.
I
So
see.
I'll leave it at that. I'll take a pause, but go ahead. Thanks.
Yeah, I think I had the opportunity to lead Scion, and I learned a lot from that experience. I think when you look at the Net Promoter Score of people who buy vehicles, they really want transparency in the pricing. So early next year, we're going to be going to non-negotiated pricing, and more people want to do business remotely. So we want to offer that. But when you get an accident or you have questions, I mean, people are going to want to talk to someone. So I think there's an answer out there. If I look at markets like Norway that are that have really adopted electrification, there's some combination that I think we're moving to that is good for the customer, and I don't think it's odds with the system that's been there for 120 years. But of course, for like commercial vehicles, it's a little different. Um, that network has to do a lot of repair of vehicles. They're heavily used, and so physical service is like super important for commercial customers. But I think we're moving to a different experience, and that will be, from my experience, that will be a good thing.
Look, I don't necessarily disagree on. I think that I love the business, and I think Tesla's an enigma in the sense that it's been D2C since very early on, and that's how the company was built. I think speaking, I get tons of DMs every day, and so I'm in a very interesting position where I have a very strong pulse on the market, and you're the CEO of the company, so I'm sure you do too, clearly. But I'm constantly seeing stuff like blue sky multiples, and for anyone in the audience that doesn't know what that means, it just means the multiple that Ford stores are selling now. They keep declining, and the reason that's important, the reason I pay attention to that in what I do is because that just tells me has a direct correlation to dealer sentiment and what
Mm.
dealers think that the future holds for a specific brand. And so I think that's where my head is at, thinking how does that work itself out? I understand you're right that there's different reasons why D2C can be better for a customer or a dealer network or anything in between. Like we can argue that all day, and I think it really does come down to execution in a sense. But I still wonder how does this all play out, given that there is a dealer network, and that is the reality of how the company's structured. Going through that transition.
It, yeah, it's off. Yeah, I think it is a transition, and we're learning. Yeah, how I kind of think of it is like we're going into a second inning of a 9 inning game. So, we're going to make adjustments along the way. I just don't see it as an either or. I just don't. I think we need physical outlets here and there.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. We should probably not stray to just FYI for
Yeah.
everyone, because this could easily go be like a several hour long Q&A about Tesla and Ford.
Yeah.
So we want to stay reasonably on topic. If there are additional speaker requests, please, that's totally cool, but we want to stay reasonably on topic. So with that in mind, do you still have a question?
No, I appreciate it. Like I said, I apologize. I missed the beginning. But I think, that all, when I think about the acceleration EV, and I've spoken with several guests that are, very active in the EV space, not Tesla, but, I just think I think through that as, what does the world look like in 5-10 years? Where is EV adoption? And what does that percentage look like? So, look, guys, I think it's really cool to see that the two of you on this platform doing this together. So kudos to you for really teaming up on that. This is good to see. And that's all for me for now. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good.
Hey, Jim. Hey, Elon. This is Sergio Rodriguez out here in Monterey, California. So I am absolutely shocked to see this partnership go down. I am impressed as all can be. I mean, if anybody knows me, they know that I'm completely shocked right now. I don't know where north, south, east, west is right now, but I appreciate the fact that there's going to be a movement forward as far as this electrification, and that way we can get these naysayers that are out there that feel that range anxiety is limiting and people can't do this and people can't do that. My question goes to, how is the charging speed going to be for us Fords on your network? Are we going to be able to charge at our full capacity? Because I know that with the Magic Dock, when I tested it, it was throttled back a bit.
It'll really be at whatever the physical limit is of the wiring, and so we'll make sure that the adapter is not the limiting factor. So it will, and the supercharger will not be the limiting factor. So it would really be anything that's on the vehicle side wiring. But we'll certainly go as fast as the vehicle battery will allow. It's certainly the Tesla intent to make this a seamless and positive experience for Ford owners.
Perfect. That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elon. I know we're getting the end of our time, but I have to ask you. For my podcast, I talked to Neil Antipas Tyson, and we were both DeGrasse Tyson, and we were both kind of wondering, where is the Tesla Roadster in the universe right now? Because I have a feeling like you track it.
Well, I have to say, for everyone out there who has a reservation on Tesla Roadster, I'd just like to say thank you for your patience. Because we are certainly testing the patience of the new Tesla Roadster customers. I'm actually in the studio here with our head of design, actually, and our head of vehicle engineering. So Lars and Franz are here.
Lars and Franz are here.
Lars and Franz are here. So we're actually just looking at we're hoping to finish the design of the engineering of the new Roadster this year, and hopefully reach production towards the end of next year. I mean, I do want to emphasize that this is financially sort of a small potatoes situation. It's not going to move the needle in a major way financially. So I've characterized it as it's not even the icing on the cake; it's the cherry on the icing on the cake. But it's still it'll be a really really cool thing, and there's something poetic about we started off with the Roadster, we're not going to end with a Roadster, but but it's nice to have it rhyme and come back with a new version. So
And
and
where's the
yeah.
one? Where's the one in space? Like,
Oh
where?
yeah.
How far out is it?
Well, there's actually somebody maintains a website called whereisroadster.com.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so at any given point you can see where it is. But we ran the sort of orbital calculations forward about 10 million years, and it did not appear to hit anything for the next 10 million years. So it's you never know when something might come out of nowhere, but it'll be there. In theory, it'll be there even after the pyramids have eroded. So it's a long term. The aliens. If aliens come in the future, they'll be like, "Hey, what's this thing?" Um, and then we have a tiny Roadster, like a Matchbox car Roadster, on the dashboard of the Roadster. So they'll be like, maybe they'll think they must have worshipped these things. This must be like their religious symbol of something, yeah, I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
that's cool. I just want to thank Elon, to you and your team for working together on behalf of all of our customers, and for all the customers calling in. Just want to thank you for doing so. We're really pumped up about working with you to make our customers' lives better, and we're really thankful for your partnership.
Likewise, it's an honor to be working with a great company like Ford, and so yeah, it's looking forward to doing perhaps more in the future. So
Well, yeah, and let's do this again. I've learned a lot, and yeah, it's a great platform.
all right, cool, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.